Hi, everyone, and welcome to Gentreo's webinar on how to protect your family during the coronavirus. I'm Mary Kate D'Souza, and I'm here to help you learn about what estate planning documents you need to make sure that you're safe and protected during this time. As we all know, this is a very unique time in our history with this COVID-19 pandemic. We are all forced into social distancing, can't get in touch with our family members who live nearby, never mind the ones that are across the country or maybe in another country. And because of this, it's more critical than ever that we have our estate planning documents prepared. Right now with Gentreo, we're offering a special promotion for essential employees who are the frontline heroes who are helping us, that we're in both the medical profession and grocery stores and with deliveries. All these people, we would like to offer a significant discount on our product, which is a $100 discount. So for $29, you could get this critical estate planning documents and the Family Vault feature, which is very important for you in order to be able to not only create your documents, but to share them with your loved ones who you can't see the way we used to because of the COVID pandemic. So these are the estate planning documents that you need, and all capable adults over 18 should have. A healthcare proxy, a power of attorney, which has to do with financial matters. If you own a pet, it's a good idea to have a power of attorney for pet care. A will, which is a document that kicks into effect after you die, and within that, you're able to make a nomination of who you want to be guardian of your children, and you're also able to choose where you want your assets to go and who you want to manage it. And finally, another estate planning tool is a trust. And that's another way in which during your lifetime, you can manage your assets. Part of these protections, as I referenced earlier, is not only creating the documents, but having the ability to securely store them and share them with those that are important to you. There have been a lot of instances, and sadly now with the COVID-19 pandemic, wherein people have created their documents and they're prepared, but they're in their homes and then they're in the hospital and their loved one is isolated from them, doesn't know that they're in the hospital, and can't get the documents. That's why it's very critical to have this Gentreo Family Vault, wherein you can securely store your documents online and then share it with the people that you want to have it. So in the event of an emergency, and as we've learned, your life can change in an instant with this COVID-19 pandemic, that people can access the information immediately. So right now, with the COVID-19 pandemic, the legal system, like all other government agencies, has kind of ground to a halt. There is still a possibility of getting emergency orders. However, it's more challenging because the courts are not open for business as usual. More to the point, given this crisis, during the best of times, it's challenging to get emergency orders from the court. During this crisis, it's even more difficult. So that's why during this pandemic, you want to make sure that you have all your documents in order so your loved ones are not forced into a situation in which they're going to have to be more stressed and anxious, pay money to retain an attorney in order to achieve the goals that could be easily achieved by proper estate planning. So it's very important that you take steps to do it. Do it now. Don't procrastinate. Don't delay. The one silver lining and upside to the COVID pandemic is that we are all at home. And although some of us may be working from home, we maybe have more time than we usually do in our very hectic lives. So this gives us an opportunity to create those documents that maybe it's been on our mind, oh, I need to do this, and put it off until tomorrow. But now we have an opportunity to create them and do them today. So let's talk about the estate planning documents. Let's begin with the healthcare proxy. The healthcare proxy, otherwise known as a power of attorney for healthcare or surrogate healthcare, is a document wherein you authorize someone else to make medical decisions for you in the event that you're not able to make those for yourself. So you may be in a situation where you've had a traumatic brain injury, or you've had a coma, or during this COVID-19 pandemic, maybe you're on a respirator. These are all situations in which you could not advocate for yourself. So you need to pick someone that you would trust to make medical decisions for you. Other components of a healthcare proxy can include a HIPAA release. This allows your advocate, your agent, to get access to your medical records and communicate with your doctors so that they have all the information necessary to make the right medical decision for you. Further, within a healthcare proxy, you can choose what you would want to happen in terms of end-of-life planning. So you could indicate whether or not you want life-sustaining treatment, artificial hydration, or nutrition. You also have an opportunity to explicitly state, I definitely want this care, or I definitely do not want that care. It's your opportunity to proactively express in writing what your desires are. Now, some of us might choose not even to go that route. Some of us might just decide, and in fact, this is what my decision in my healthcare proxy is, to just choose someone I know, love, and trust, and know loves me to make the best decisions for me. But again, the beauty of having a healthcare proxy is that you make the choices. You're able to decide what you want. Now, for a financial power of attorney, that's a document in which you're picking someone similar to the healthcare proxy who makes healthcare decisions. A financial power of attorney is an agent who makes decisions over your finances, your wealth, and your assets. This is, again, someone that you should trust, who will not take advantage of you and financially exploit you. Within a power of attorney, you can limit the duration of it, or you can make it durable to last through an incapacity. Both the healthcare proxy document and the financial power of attorney are only valid during your lifetime. When you die, the power and authority contained within those documents dies with you. Also, in terms of a financial power of attorney, not only can you limit the duration, but you could also limit the powers. Say, for example, you were in the middle of buying property and had to travel. Obviously, that's not likely right now during COVID-19. However, this is just by way of example. You might appoint someone to be your power of attorney, or otherwise known as your attorney in fact or agent, to represent you in your real estate sale purchase. And that way, when your way, the closing can go ahead, and your agent has been empowered to only deal with the real estate, but not access your bank account and other things. Of course, during the COVID-19 pandemic, it's very important that someone has access to your finances in the event that you're incapacitated, especially, again, given our separation. If you have a college student who's across the country and you're here, you want to make sure that the college student has given someone authority to manage his or her money so that it's not a situation where you're going to have to seek emergency court orders in another state while you're somewhere else. The last will and testament. This is a document in which most of us are familiar with. It has to do with after you die. And it's the document in which you say what you want to happen with all of your things. not only your personal possessions, but your money, your real estate. You choose who you want to benefit. Some people say and get turned off by the expression estate planning, thinking, oh, I don't have an estate. But we all do. It might not be as extensive as very wealthy people, but everyone has something. And most of us have worked hard for it. So we want to make sure that whoever receives our hard-earned items after we die are our choices and not what the government chooses. And that's what happens. If you don't have a will, your possessions are distributed according to the laws of your state. More critically than possessions for parents of minor children is the opportunity within a will to nominate who you want to take care of your children in the event that you die before them. For most of us who are parents, this is a very critical concern and often the motivating factor in creating a will. Again, during this COVID-19 time, where sadly so many people have been struck ill and have died from this illness, we want to make sure that what we want to happen with our children is in writing and can be upheld and enforced, so that the person that you really want to take care of your children and be their guardian in the event that you die is guaranteed. Another component of a will is to appoint someone similar to the power of attorney, is the person that you want to manage your estate after you die. This is someone that you trust to uphold all your wishes that are reflected in your will. And with all these documents, the healthcare proxy, the power of attorney, and the will, you choose your first person, but you're also able to list an alternate or a successor agent or personal representative, so that there's multiple level of choices, and that the court would go in order of the choices that you've created. The pet power of attorney is a document in which you're telling people who you want to take care of your animals, what care that they would want, and how much money you'd want to spend on them. There have been situations in which people, again, are traveling or overseas and they've had a pet sitter and there's a pet emergency. And absent any authority, the veterinarian and the pet sitter are kind of in a bad position, not knowing your exact financial circumstances. Taking the opportunity to create a pet power of attorney enables you to designate how much money that you would want to spend on your pet. Again, your pet sitter is not privy to your financial information, and this enables you to set limits ahead of time. So having a pet power of attorney enables you to protect your veterinarian, your pet sitter, and yourself. A living trust is a document in which you transfer your assets during your lifetime. People do this in order to avoid a probate of a will situation. Oftentimes, however, even with a living trust, you still need to have a will component because it's very difficult to transfer everything you own into a living trust. But again, a living trust is a way in which you can manage your assets during your lifetime and set out what you want to happen to those assets when you pass away and who benefits from your assets during your lifetime. So I think we've all had some personal experience with this. The problem of if you do not have an estate plan, it costs a whole host of problems. Financial costs are increased, family conflict, which is the worst outcome, and emotional stress. It's very challenging. If you do not have, for example, a healthcare proxy and you become incapacitated, you may be causing loved ones to fight over who should be making healthcare decisions for you, and moreover, fighting about what the nature of those healthcare decisions would be. This causes needless stress and anxiety at a time when people are already experiencing so much stress because they're worried about you because you're in hospital and you're incapacitated. So, by being proactive and creating your estate planning documents ahead of time, you are really saving a lot of money and, more importantly, emotional burden from your family. Right now, it's very challenging, as I said, to get to a judge. They're only accepting emergency cases. And of course, a situation in which someone didn't have someone to make a medical decision for them would be an emergency case. But again, it would take time. And it's just so much easier if you have your documents in place and you can share them and have people have access to them. So there's a seamless transition in power and decision making. The other consideration that people who are not familiar with the courts may not be aware of is that when there's family conflict, the court oftentimes won't even appoint a family member. Instead, what the court will do will appoint a stranger to serve as temporary guardian or conservator, guardian for healthcare decisions, conservator for financial decisions. And so not only will you not have someone you know making these decisions, it'll be someone who doesn't know you, know your values, and know your wishes. As I said, Gentreo offers a great feature, which is the Gentreo Family Vault. Not only can you store your essential estate planning documents that we just talked about, which you create by using Gentreo, but you can also store and upload all relevant information to your potential healthcare agents and financial power of attorney agents. So they would have access to whatever information you choose to give them. It's very important that these documents are in a place where they're able to be accessed. There have been a number of situations in which the documents are not readily available. So family members know, for example, that their mom had prepared a healthcare proxy, but then they couldn't find it. And as a result of that, they still end up in court. So it's a two-pronged process. You have to create your documents, but then you also have to store them in a way and give access to someone so that they can readily use them in the event of an emergency. Another situation that often happens is people will create these important legal documents and store them in a safe deposit box in a bank. In order to access that safe deposit box, your financial power of attorney needs the power of attorney document that's stored in there. So as you see, it's a catch-22. So in order to access that safe deposit box, you need to go to court to get an order to get access to it, thereby defeating the whole purpose of creating your documents. Another feature of Gentreo is that you're really able to, with a membership, change your documents as situations change. So right now during COVID-19, you might want to be thinking about only nominating people who live nearby you and not someone across country, because during this time, it'd be very challenging to fly. So that's why these documents are, in a sense, living. As long as you have capacity, you can change them to tailor and suit your current circumstances. And in addition to COVID-19, there are other circumstances that would warrant a change. You get married, you have another child, maybe sadly you get divorced, or there's a death in your family. All of these are considerations which may want you to go back and revisit your documents. Thank you very much for joining us today at Gentreo. We'll take any questions if anyone has any. Here's a question. If I do a living trust, does that save taxes? I think by this, the reference is to an inheritance tax or an estate tax. So the federal estate tax exemption is over $11 million. So for most people, everyday Americans, this does not come into play. In Massachusetts, the exemption is only $1 million per person. So it's possible that there might be a tax savings by using a trust, but it's not automatic. Does a pet power of attorney last after I pass away? No. Again, the power of attorney for pet care, similar to a financial power of attorney, does not stay in effect after you pass away. However, with the Gentreo power of attorney, you have an option of indicating what your wishes are, which is a great benefit to your personal representative so that your pets are taken care of. What is the first thing I should create or do? During this COVID-19 pandemic, I would strongly urge everyone who's listening to this to create their own healthcare proxy and to urge all of their adult loved ones to do the same. This right now would be the most critical document. But as I said, other important documents would then be a financial power of attorney in the event that you're incapacitated and your will. And if you own a pet, you need to do that too. The good news is with the Gentreo software, it's very easy and convenient for you to do it from your own home. So you'd be able to, it may seem overwhelming hearing me talk about all of these documents, but by using Gentreo, where you're able to walk through it at your own pace and create them very quickly. Can I have different people be my power of attorney and healthcare proxy? Yes, you can. And quite often that is the case. Sometimes we have people in our lives who are more skilled with medical considerations, and you want them to be in charge of your healthcare decisions. And at the same time, you might have someone who's more well versed with finances and assets and accounting, and you want that person to be your power of attorney. Another factor that some people consider is that they want a balance. They don't want one person holding all that power. So for all these reasons, you definitely can choose to have two different people serve in that role. But again, some of you might feel like, well, I just want my spouse to do both. And that's fine too. These are your decisions. Does it need to be a lawyer for my power of attorney? That's a very good question. No, you do not need to have an attorney or a professional serve in that role. Simply put, your agent or attorney in fact, who is the person that you have nominated to serve as your power of attorney, needs to be someone you trust with your finances, and also someone that you trust to give access to your banking information, all your credit cards, your bills, all your personal information, so that they could take over and manage it for you in the event that you're incapacitated. Again, thank you so much for joining us on this webinar. We hope you all stay safe and healthy, and we welcome you to join Gentreo and protect your family. Thank you.